about some secrets that women have. I have no conflict of interest. And the main thing is that the woman is the basis of family and basically keeps the family together. When women start having other ideas, the whole family breaks. So, and a lot of women in the pursuit of happiness, they ignore psychological issues and they think that if they can fix the vaginal area, this roller coaster of aging is going to be corrected. And now, estrogen deficiency is just only one aspect of hormonal imbalance that happens during aging. High inflammation is another problem because it creates emotional apathy. So if you're emotionally apathetic, obviously you cannot participate. High cortisol is going to create anxiety and depression, and again, that's not really something that you're going to be ready for sexual. Now, low metabolism, again, anxiety and depression. High metabolism, again. So it's the optimal balance of the hormones. Low testosterone, again, is going to create boredom and emptiness, and all of those are going to be a problem in the sexual interaction. DHEA decline will speed up the aging process. You're going to feel your body like it's falling apart, pretty much. Now, the lasers have a solutions, an RF, and what the solution is to increase collagen. So basically they say that with a laser, there's a trauma, the body responds, and it increases collagen. The problem with that theory is that the collagen miracle is not enough. Why? Because collagen is a protein. And we think about skin, but oops, we forgot the muscles. And that's what the vagina is. And I got news for you. 2024 Nobel Prize in chemistry. They actually identified 200 million proteins. And all of these proteins have to be interacting for youth rejuvenation to occur. So the other thing with collagen is that it's part of scar formation. So if a scar is formed in the vagina, would that affect sexual pleasure for the woman? The other thing is that young people, young women have a lot of collagen, the older ones don't. So could that result in problems that may kind of create trauma when you use a laser? So is laser rejuvenation good for the man, but really nasty for the woman because it affects his sexual pleasure? And actually there is, from 2015 until 19, that was an older study, obviously, there has been FDA reported 46 patients with severe problems that they had to go to the hospital for gastroenterology and urology, gynecology, neurology, and so on and so forth. So what's behind the female smile? When women say we are satisfied from the laser rejuvenation, is that true? Let's get into the whirlwind of female emotionality. And this is studies that I have published. There's 3 articles in this area, and also I have also included a lot of the studies in my books that have been translated into other languages. What we did, we administered the MMPI. MMPI is a very valid questionnaire, personality questionnaire. And we administered that in 14 menopausal women that had very high scores on the FSFI. They said, oh, we were absolutely very satisfied with our treatment after laser. Very high scores. And what we found, well, we looked at 3 scales, lie, depression, and hysteria scale. And what we find significantly high correlations between the FSFI and the lie scale. You know what that means? They were lying. None of these answers was true. So we also find very high correlations between hysteria and depression scale. So on the outside, they were pretending to be happy and satisfied, but the inside, there was sadness and hysteria. So when it comes to women, nothing is as it seems. Why? Because of this shame that the first speaker was talking about, which is very interesting. We did give a questionnaire, the DES, that tests discrete emotions, and we found that these women had very high correlations with the shame emotion. So men lie more, but women lie better. So as physicians that do vaginal rejuvenation, you need to be aware of that secret. So white lies are because they want to please their partner. They're just happy that the partner is happy. That's all that matters. Their own satisfaction does not matter. And the other thing I want to bring your attention to is when you read all of these laser studies, what you see is that they say 0.1 satisfaction, but if you look at their actual results, it doesn't work out at 0.001 because it's only 85% that were satisfied. So that's not significant right there. And also in that particular study, 26% of these women were not sexually active. So how do you kind of assess the satisfaction? So there are threats to internal and external validity that you must try to take into consideration. Read the whole study, look at the samples. There is a lot of studies against laser rejuvenation. There is a lack of scientific data. There is no longitudinal follow-up, and that's one of the main problems. There's a lot of these studies, again, they say the same thing, no long-term results. CO2 lasers have not been approved by the FDA for vaginal rejuvenation. There are a lot of complications like fibrosis and scarring, agglutination, vaginal injuries, so on and so forth. There is a number of federal agencies now, including the FDA, that have issued warnings against laser rejuvenation. You need to think of the holistic care, the gestalt. There are multiple reasons why women are dissatisfied. It's not just because of the physical organ, the vagina. There are a lot more. It's a quality of life. And you need to consider the complexity of endocrinological communications. Confidence comes from hormonal balance, not because of the physical organ is rejuvenated somehow. Hormonal balance is the secret here. And this is what I have in my new book, is publishing right now, The Rhythm of Youth. And I will tell you why I call it The Rhythm of Youth, because everything has to do with interconnectivity and resonance and hormonal balance. So you have systemic disharmony and you have systemic harmony. And that is what's going to give you the pleasure. It gets into Freud again. The first speaker was talking about Freud. He was talking about the pleasure principle, and the pleasure principle has to do with energy, sexual energy, not the vaginal physique. So you need to look at toxicity, you need to look at inflammation, hormonal balance, visceral fat. That's not going to be very sexually participating. Blocked energy, number one, that's what everybody's talking. So there are other now new techniques, the resonance energy transfer or the signaling resonance energy transfer, no heat, no trauma, basically they thicken the tissue, and you can see here the difference before and after the fret. So this is the tissue thickening via proteostasis, what we call what's the loss of proteostasis? That's aging. Proteostasis is when the proteins get completely unfolded and the stress causes this unfolding of the proteins, not just collagen, 200 million of them. And once that happens, and you just increase collagen, you know what you're gonna do? Not much. So, a typical mammalian cell contains up to 20,000 proteins and about 10 to 20,000 genes. So it's far, far more complicated. This is the Nobel Prize 1999 that looked at the intercommunications between proteins. And what I wanna, hold on, let me go back. Go back, because I want you to see this video.
We have to finish all that.
Yeah, almost done, almost done. So you see the resonance inside the cell. The cell actually has energy inside it. And it's this energy that has to the cell. We are made of cells. So this energy in the cell is part of everything. So this is me when in our research center in England, in the UK, and this is what resonance does. I want you to see this video. You see how everything is increased through resonance. It's an incredible thing that you can see under the microscope. Because why? Because it targets proteostasis. It targets the energy, and also has a timing factor. That's another Nobel Prize 2017 that has to be considered. So for females, they need a gentle approach, but a complex gentle approach. Female satisfaction is based on understanding. And thank you, this is the ending. If you have any questions, you can email me at science@iellios.com, and I can have my WhatsApp here. You can take a picture if you like. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's true that orgasm is not only the vagina.
Of course.
Yes, we
Come
know
on.
this, yes.
Women know that, but
Yeah.
men think.
Sorry.